If it hurts, you ain't breaks, no games, you know it up, put on more steam. Protect our kickers, our quarterback, our lead, our ball game. All obstacles, block, cut, sides, through the game, tackle, this win it. First you again, we're here for the first minute. Carry a lot of people every 6 minutes.
Like I said, like we play with a chip on our shoulder at Tennessee. So, you know, we get a lot of disrespect. So we want to make it clear that we're going to come out and dominate day in and day out.
The culture that Hype and everyone has created in this building, it's been phenomenal on teams, and we're only going to continue to be better. And the standard around here, I've said it before, I'll say it again, standard is to be the damn best. And we're never stopping.
Doesn't have to be perfect, ain't gonna be perfect. We go compete for 60 freaking minutes. All right, enjoy the opportunity, enjoy the environment, and then go play our butts off, play for one another, and have a hell of a lot of fun. Everybody got me? Yes, all right.
Do you remember when we fell in love? I remember, don't worry. Do you remember? I remember how it all began. How could I ever forget? It's the first time. Do you remember? I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it coming in the air tonight. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's coming in the air tonight.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. It is freaking game week. Game week. I think I made a big mistake. I'm on my second rock star. It's barely 9 o'clock. I watched the hype video. I watched the Talkin VAWLS hype video right before we went live, and now I am ready to run through a brick wall. It's time to talk some football. The morning shows are back. Fan call-in show last night, absolute blast. That means it is go time. It's time to talk some football. Let's run down the chat right out of the gate, see who's here. Do me a favor, though, smash the thumbs up. You guys know the deal. Share the link out. Hit that share button. It takes 2 seconds. You can hit Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you get social with your media. Put it out there. Let them know that we are back with the morning streams. David Burgess is in the house. What's up, brother? Dropping those custom Talkin VAWLS emojis. Dylan Plowman is here. Says, good morning, VAWLS fam. What's up, my friend? Tim Rice is in the house dropping custom Talkin VAWLS emojis as well. Christopher Welch is here. Crystal is in the house. Says, good morning, guys. Joey Carroll's here. Robert Tuck is here. Carson is here saying it's freaking – what's gain week? Are we going to hit the gym? It's gain week. Or is that gain like audio gain? Or is it actually game week? Carson, what's up? AQ Gaming's in the house. Brian Franklin is here. Papa J is in the house. Guys, smash the thumbs up. You know what to do. Let's hit the door fees. Noah James drops $2. Says, boom, boom, room fee paid up. Boogie VAWLS by 50. Appreciate that, Noah. Lee Honda Hilt is here. Drops $2. Good morning, Boogie and the gang. It is game week. Appreciate that. Super chat. Little Spooky for 2 says, morning, everybody. Almost time. It is time. Let's forget this almost stuff. It is time. It is go time. Appreciate the $2, my friend. Joey Carroll for 5 says, door fee. Thank you, Joey. Welcome to the show. Also, we've got cavalry, Fusilade. I don't know how to read. I really don't know the English language. Becomes a member of the channel. Full transparency here. I was reading a comic book the other day, and there was a typo in it. It said Calvary instead of cavalry. What is the difference? Well, Calvary is where Jesus was crucified for all of our sins. Cavalry is army troops on horseback. I didn't know the difference. I always said send in the cavalry, but nonetheless, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. Guys, we're going to give away a free t-shirt. We need 20 new members, so I'm going to make it 19. We get 19 new members during this live stream. We're going to give away a free t-shirt. Brian Franklin, right out of the gate, becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that. Brian, we're down to 18. 18 new members will give away a free shirt. Brian drops a $5 super chat. Appreciate that, Brian. That is the entry fee. You guys are very, very generous with those door fees. But let's get into it. We got to talk some football. Kainer's just going to sit in the back and watch the entire show go by, and then he's just going to be gone. He's not even going to come on and talk. So let's get this thing going.
You are Locked On Vols, your daily podcast on the Tennessee Volunteers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Cainer? It is go time, my friend.
It's game week, man. I'm jacked up. Got my morning cup of coffee here. Got some game week tweets out there here on a Monday morning for the first time in 7, 8, 9 months. I can't do math. I can't spell. Can't do math. But we get to watch a football game and break it down next week. So I'm jacked up.
Something different to talk about. We were laughing right before we went live. Tired of talking about recruiting and the same old narratives, but we're going to do it one last time. But it's go time, man. Virginia right around the corner. Cray Flannery becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that support, guys. Anybody that saw the fan call-in show, that's also how you get to be a part of that show. You guys come on and drive the train, and I just sit back and watch. It's always a good time. So we're a few members away from getting that free t-shirt shipped out. Travis Parton drops a $2 super chat. Appreciate that, Travis. So let's just jump right into it, Cainer. We're going to talk final predictions. We're going to talk about what we saw in fall camp, and then we're finally going to talk a little bit about this Virginia game coming up on Saturday. But you wrote an article over at VolQuest called Final Takeaways from Fall Camp. You said what we learned from Tennessee fall camp. Number one, this is Joe Milton's team. Number two, depth will be the strength of the Tennessee defense. And number three, the offensive line will be a work in progress. So kind of give them a little teaser of what's going on over that VolQuest. What are your final takeaways from this fall camp?
Yeah, the big three. It's going to be a Sunday afternoon article I write during the season, kind of recapping, three biggest plays, stats, whatever that kind of told the story of the Tennessee win or loss that previous day. But I wanted to debut it a week early and kind of get, people familiar with what it is. And so I decided to do the three things I took away from fall camp. And really, there's three things that we've kind of been talking about. We kind of know about Joe Milton's football team. I think that's fairly obvious when you listen to players and assistant coaches take to the podium. Strength is going to be in depth and numbers on the defensive side of the football. We kind of know how deep that linebacker group is, that front seven, and some of the options they have in the secondary. And then, of course, the offensive line. The really still the big question about this football team is who's going to play where and what's it going to look like and how long is it going to take until, 5 or 6 guys are settled on. And that's not going to be week one. And so I kind of wrote about that, picked some quotes from assistant coaches in the media the last couple of weeks. And so that's over at VolQuest.com. But I'll tell you, man, game week coverage, it's the best. We started last night with the Rocky Top Rewind. I'll have a first glance piece out there later tonight. Austin Price had a one-on-one with Josh Heupel. That's over on the website right now. We'll have our matchup pieces. We'll have the Rocky Top Roundtable. We'll have a recruiting mini pod with Matt Ray. We'll have a game day podcast. So much more to get into now that we're in game week coverage over at VolQuest.com. So there's a deal going on right now as well. If you're not a member of VolQuest.com, want to be a member, $1 for 1 month or 50% off your first year annual subscription over at VolQuest.com.
That's the way to do it, man. Just do the yearly thing. That's what I do. Yeah. And then I forget about it. It hits the credit card, and I say, oh, well, we just keep on rolling. Let's talk about Joe Milton. You said it's Joe Milton's team. The conversation everybody keeps, it seems like people are all in on Joe or they have no confidence in Joe. And I get sick of the overthrow Joe comments and all that nonsense. I think he proved last year that he's developed. And I think it was the VolQuest podcast last week. Brent said, you got to realize when Joe first took over that starting job, he'd only been on campus for a few months. I don't think anybody was really talking about that enough versus now he's going into year 3 under Josh Heupel. You've got to trust and believe that he's developed. What do you think we get from Joe? Do you see a true legitimate Heisman Trophy run? Do you see a number one, or not number one, but first round possible draft pick? Do you think Joe is capable of that?
Also, not only was he on campus for only a couple of months and he was getting used to those receivers, I got news for you, too. He wasn't healthy. In Michigan, what kind of put him to the bench and kind of started his inconsistent play, broke his thumb. And, that really wasn't completely healed, on his throwing hand for a quarterback until, about a year and a half later. So a lot went into that first stint as Tennessee starting quarterback. But I do think that he's sat back and he's developed as a quarterback. I like to equate it like this. I maybe I'm wrong, maybe you disagree, but I like to think I'm better at my job now than I was 2 years ago.
Oh God!
I mean, when you think about it,
don't go back and watch my old stuff, please, please, please. It's still there. Don't go watch it
because you put in the work and you care about your craft, and this is your passion, right? And so you try to get better, and you take coaching, you take criticism, all that type of stuff. Joe Milton's done that the last couple of years, and he sat back and he watched, Hendon Hooker go to work and he put in the work. And then to your point, he came in last year, whether it be mop-up duty or, the Vanderbilt or Clemson game, and you could see kind of a change, some touch, some accuracy, stuff like that. So I'm excited to see what Joe Milton can be. I'm a believer in Joe Milton. I am. I'm not ready to say Heisman, front runner or anything like that because I just want to see him go out there and play consistently. But if he does, no doubt about it, he will be a first-round draft pick. I mean, that's a guarantee. He's Cam Newton, okay, in a college football body right now. So if he goes out there and he is efficient and he is effective and Tennessee has a good offense, he will be a first-round draft pick. No ifs, ands, buts about it.
So your second topic, your second point there on the final takeaways from fall camp is the depth on defense. We've heard Tim Banks talk about it. We've heard a lot of people talk about the depth on this defense. Give me a couple of young guys. We know the name, the sexy name that everybody's talking about in Arian Carter, what he's been able to do throughout his first fall camp at Tennessee. But who are some other young guys, freshmen, sophomores, that you think are really adding legitimate depth to this defense?
David Hobbs is going to be a guy that I think will be in the rotation, five-star freshman. Tyree Weathersby was going to play, and it's almost unheard of in today's age in football that, back in the old days, you're a freshman, you show up on campus in June, you go play. Now you come in for bowl practices in December, you're an early enrollee, and you're there for all that. Tyree Weathersby wasn't there. I mean, he came in June, but he was going to play, and unfortunately, he's going to be out for a likely year with a hip injury. But David Hobbs on the defensive front, I think Caleb Herring is a guy that can be in that rotation and be in some packages to go get after the quarterback. Sophomore Elijah Herring at linebacker, I think, is going to be a key backup and a guy that's going to be in the rotation. You mentioned Arian Carter, of course. I think Jeremiah Teaglander could see some snaps. And then we'll see about the secondary. I like to think that Ricky Gibson and maybe Jordan Matthews can push to maybe get some snaps. But, I mean, there's so many guys back there. Kamal Haddon and Slaughter are going to be your two starters. Brandon Turnage deserves to play. Gabe Judy Lawley might be the best one, and he's going to play some as well. And that's even before you get to the freshmen. So those are some of those young guys. And then on offense, excuse me, I think it's going to be Ethan Davis. Ethan Davis for sure at the tight end position. He's a guy that I think's had a really, really good camp and is poised to kind of come in here and play an awful lot of football.
Mention the offensive line also, just going to be shuffling guys around. What concerns me the most, I know you talked on your show this morning over at Locked On Vols. You talked about, shuffling guys around. Ollie Lane, if he's at center, you've got Andres Carrick at guard. What concerns me is the depth on the offensive line. What happens if, Cooper Mays is still out, Andres Carrick goes down? Do you move Ollie Lane over to guard and then somebody else slides in? Obviously, this offensive line is a concern, but when you look at Josh Heupel's offense, you think it can maybe mask some of that lack of depth or lack of just being a dominant offensive line. You think what he does kind of covers that up a little bit?
I do, and I think it was Thursday last week I had Ramon Foster on Locked On Vols, and I was kind of almost afraid to ask the question because I wasn't trying to be like rude or disrespectful because, former NFL offensive lineman, but I was like, Ramon, does this offense essentially make it easier on these O-linemen? Not easier, but kind of cover up some warts, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, 100% it does. I mean, first and foremost, the tempo. Now, the tempo is not easy. It's not easy on these big guys, but they're conditioned. They know the offense, the tempo. You got defensive linemen with their hands on their knees, just gasping for air, especially early in the season. And so that in itself, kind of helps. But also this offense, quick passing game, out to the perimeters. The run game opens up vertical run lanes to where, you can go and get after it in a hurry. So I do think that this offense can kind of help and kind of mask a little bit of that. But at the end of the day, you got to go win your one-on-one battles. And with all the questions that this offensive line has, I still don't think it's going to be a horrible unit. I still don't think it's going to be a unit that holds Tennessee back. Will it be better than last year's offensive line? No. I mean, you had Darnell Wright, Jerome Carvin. You're just not going to be any better. But you need Cooper Mays to be back. I don't think Cooper Mays will play for Virginia. That's just me. I'm not a doctor. Maybe Josh Heupel can provide some more answers today in his press conference, but I don't expect.
Do you really
Cooper Mays
believe that? You really think Josh Heupel's going to give you some more answers on Cooper?
It's a good point. No, he's not going to say anything. He said we'll see once we get closer to kickoff.
Yeah,
that's what he'll say.
Be real, yeah.
Cooper Mays needs to get back, and Ollie Lane's kind of the key in all this right now, because I think that if he's not playing center, he's your starting left guard. But he's having to play center right now. So if Andre Carey got hurt, I don't know what the situation would be. Maybe it's Jackson Lampley. Maybe it's Dane Davis at center, Ollie Lane at guard. I don't know. We'd have to see. But I would assume that Ollie Lane, until Cooper gets back, is going to stay at center no matter what, because he gets the tempo, and the tempo is the most important thing.
Shout out to Dustin Sellers, member of the channel for almost 3 years. Whether you give $1 a month, $10 a month, some of you guys give almost $35 a month, which is absolutely insane. But you members, man, you members are the reason why I am sitting here right now with Cainer doing this morning show. Because a year ago, I should have been over here working for the man, but you guys gave me the opportunity to pull the trigger and do this full time. We're going to give away a free t-shirt. Right now, we are 15 members away from giving that away after the addition of Charlie Kaufman. Appreciate that support, brother. Vols Titans 8 becomes a member of the channel. We appreciate that. And also Clay Gamble becomes a member of the channel. Guys, we appreciate it. We're on that membership drive. Last night we were doing hater appreciation night. That's why we're going to continue that this morning and give away a free t-shirt. I love people that hate my guts. Drives me to be better. We appreciate you members. Brent, my favorite Burnett, drops a $5 super chat. Appreciate that, brother. Dorfy and what is up, Boogie? Good to see you in the chat, Brent. Always appreciate you being here, buddy. Papa J for 10. Appreciate that. $10 is not cheap, says Dorfy. Paid Cainer on the show, and it's football time in Tennessee. Thank you, Papa J. Appreciate that, love, brother. He is here every single time the lights are on. Let's move into the final chance, right? The final chance. We do season predictions. We do them after spring. We do them during the summer. We do them during fall camp. And then we're coming back. It is game week. It's the last time to take a look at this schedule and make our predictions. You talked about this morning on Locked On Vols. You broke it down. You said 9-3. Explain to my audience here why you're at 9-3 and who you think those losses come to.
Yeah, first and foremost, I'm at 9-3, and I think 9 wins in the regular season for only the second time since 2007. That's something to celebrate, especially when you lose Hendon Hooker, Darnell Wright, the Blitnikoff Award winner Jalen Hyatt, Byron Young, Cedric Tillman. You go back and you win 9 wins this year in the regular season. That's a hell of a year, and in my opinion, that proves to me that Tennessee was not a one-off last year. That proves to me, like, okay, this program is in great shape. Josh Heupel's heading in the right direction from a recruiting standpoint, from a developing standpoint, if you get 9 regular season wins. Is that double-digit wins in the regular season? No, it's not, but that's still a good win total in my opinion. I'm not ready right now to say Tennessee wins on the road at Tuscaloosa. Tennessee can win for sure. Tennessee, in fact, is going to be favored to win 10 of the 12 regular season games in preseason, is favored. But I'm not ready to go that far and say Tennessee can win on the road in Tuscaloosa. It's a really good roster. That fan base is going to be hyped up, energized, and wants that game more than anything the last 15 years. So Georgia at home, we'll see where they are at the quarterback position, of course. But, you don't stack top recruiting class after top recruiting class and not have a good roster. That's still going to be a challenge. So I've got those 2 games as losses. And then you've got, 4 or 5 games that are toss-ups, right? You've got at Florida on the road. You've got South Carolina at home, A&M at home, and then at Kentucky. And I think Tennessee should smoke Florida this year. I understand that winning in the Swamp is hard to do, and that's certainly not a gimme because it's Florida and it's the Swamp. I get all that, but I'm picking Tennessee to win on the road in Florida. I like Tennessee at home against South Carolina just because of what happened last year. Playing at Kroger Field, playing against Kentucky is going to be a tremendous challenge. I think it's going to be a tough game. I think Kentucky's a whole lot better on offense, and they're always good at the line of scrimmage. But I'm going to pick Tennessee right now just to kind of lose that A&M game because I do think that the Petrino and Jimbo effect might work out a little bit. And if it does, they've got a great roster and a good quarterback to kind of make that happen. So I think it sets up well for Tennessee because you're coming off a bye week. A&M had Alabama the week before. But I'm going to pick that A&M game as that third loss. But it's going to be one of those 4 games, right? One of that third loss is going to come between South Carolina, A&M, Kentucky, or at Florida, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens. I think this team can win 10 games. But if you finish 9-3, I think it's a really, really good season.
Yeah, that's exactly where I'm at. It's 9-3, and I've kind of stayed true to that going all the way back to the spring, and for the same reasons that you said it. I think Alabama and Georgia are losses. And then, like you said, there's so many toss-up games. It's difficult to go and say, oh, we're going to beat Texas A&M. We're going to beat Kentucky on the road. Some people are worried about Missouri on the road. I'm not really concerned about that game.
I'm not either.
But what scares me is Kentucky. I'm telling you, and you guys can come at me. You can tag me. You can tell me I don't know what I'm talking about. I had the same fear last year about South Carolina. I got called every name in the book, and we saw what happened. Now, does that make me a genius? No. But when I look at this schedule, Texas A&M, at Alabama, and you kind of been touching on it a little here and then on your show as well. I've compared that game to South Carolina because if you don't think that Alabama has that game circled on October 21st, I don't know what to tell you, because they're coming for blood on October 21st. 15 years, and then just watch the celebration. So many people have said, you guys celebrating regular season wins. You're damn straight, because it's been 15 years of misery, and now it's over. Alabama's going to have that circled, but Texas A&M, I think that's a tough football game. The very next week on the road to Alabama, and then you're going on the road to Kentucky, who has a bye week the week before. I think all that sets up as a tough road game for Tennessee. That said, I think they can go 10-2. They can win 11 games. Hell, let's run the table and go undefeated. But like you said in your show this morning, that ain't my style. I'm gonna tell you guys what I truly believe. I'm at 9-3, and like you said, I think 9-3 is a good season for year 3 with what this team has lost, and then look how they've recruited. I think 2024 could be a special year, but a lot of stuff you got to take care of in the portal. But I'm jumping ahead at skipping an entire season of football. Dustin Sellers for 5. I read this and I got confused. I think Cain still help us with depth at center or linebacker. Is he saying that you've got some years left of eligibility?
Well, that's what I played. In high school, I played center and linebacker. In college, I just played linebacker. So, yeah, man. I mean, I think Tennessee needs some help at center for sure. So if any of us got eligibility, let's get after it.
Wait, so are you in the portal from Carson Newman? You're going to be transferring to Tennessee to play a little center or linebacker?
Yeah, Tennessee fans don't want me to transfer in, right? There's not a scholarship there available for me. You don't want that.
I love it. We got 261 people watching this first Monday morning show of the year. Tons of content coming your way. Going to be live again tonight, 7 p.m. Myself, Sports Talk Jay, BVD going to be in the house. Tuesday night, we're playing video games, NCAA 2013, but talking all things Tennessee football. Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Regular Talkin VAWLS live. Friday, we're bringing a second morning show this year. Friday morning, 10 a.m. Myself and Coach Jay going to be in the house the day before Tennessee and Virginia. So make sure you come hang out for that. Before we get you out of the door here, we got to talk about Tennessee and Virginia. It's finally game week. We finally have something to dive into. Tennessee favored by 4 touchdowns. The ESPN FPI has Tennessee at 87.5% odds of winning this game. I know you're starting to do your homework, starting to dive into Virginia. What are your overall thoughts of this football team? Tony Elliott heading into year 2. See, mine's on a notepad on the screen. I put all my notes on a screen.
You know it's football season when you got the notepad out there and you start breaking it down, baby. Yeah, Virginia, man. First and foremost, good to have them back playing football. Of course, the tragedy that they endured and suffered last football season. So you know that team's going to be eager to get back and play some football. So that's good to see. But yeah, it's a football team. That being said, it's not really good, to be completely frank. At least it wasn't last year. Offense was one of the worst in the ACC. You took your starting quarterback who transferred out. You're bringing a quarterback and Tony Muskett, baby, from Monmouth FCS, and he's coming up to play quarterback for Virginia. And he was a decent quarterback at the FCS level, but still turned it over a little bit. Running backs, you bring back all your starters, but they didn't really do an awful lot last year. You lose 4 of your 5 starting offensive linemen, a lot of turnover there. You lose your top 4 wide receivers, a lot of turnover there. So offensively, a unit that wasn't very good last year, ranked last in the ACC with 17 points per game and 10th in the ACC with 344 yards of total offense a game. You lost a lot of your starters, so a lot of question marks on the offensive end. Now, flip it over defensively, they were kind of middle of the road in the ACC, points per game and points allowed. Front 7 pretty much comes back, except for the leading tackler at linebacker, but the front 7 comes back. The defensive line is its best unit on its football team, and a key injury to be watching, heading into the game is Leo or, edge rusher Chico Bennett. He had 7 sacks a season ago. He's been out a little bit in fall camp with some injuries. He is their best pass rusher, and he's questionable for the Tennessee game, but that front 7's pretty good. They had all-conference cornerbacks a season ago. Both of those cornerbacks have left, so they had to go to the transfer portal and fill those voids. But they bring back starting safeties, bring back a starting nickelback player, and some experienced linebackers. So, you know, again, on paper, Virginia's not the best football team, especially offensively, but they do have some veterans coming back, and especially defensively, the front seven's pretty much intact. But this should be a football game where Tennessee should win by multiple scores, in my opinion. I think the line, 28.5 here on a Monday. That is a lot of points. I'm not comfortable with that, but I mean, Tennessee should be able to win this game pretty comfortably. And know this, too. It's not going to be a perfect game for Tennessee. There's going to be mistakes. They're going to be sloppy. There'll be some penalties. It's week 1. But I still think all that said, there should be a big-time win in Nashville and what will be a home game against Virginia.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just don't think Virginia is very good. Like you said, so many guys off of that team, you know, to have a 3-year starter transfer out and go to NC State. Be honest with me. We were laughing about this last night on the fan call-in show talking about Virginia. Monmouth. Any idea who they were? Like, did you have any clue? Like, when you're doing your homework, you're like, okay, transfer in from where? Like, what? Who? Like, am I supposed to be scared? He'll throw for 300 now because I'm laughing at him.
I've heard the name before. Like, I've seen someone somewhere transferred in from Monmouth. So I've seen that before, but it's one of those, like, Mom, what? Like, what is that?
Yeah, like somebody said that they were in the NCAA March Madness tournament, that they had heard him from there. But, you know, he 2-time Big South Player of the Year, great. But are you ready to play against the SEC football team? What do you want to see from Tennessee? Like, my narrative going into this game is Tennessee just needs to be Tennessee. I'm not worried about Virginia. I want to see what Joe looks like. But I think with all the you know, turnover on Virginia's offense, and like you said, they weren't very good a year ago, and now they've got a lot of turnover.
Yeah.
Don't you want to see Tennessee's defense kind of be dominant on Saturday?
Oh, yeah. I am team defense for Tennessee this year. I mean, I again, not to get on my horse or anything, but I've been beating this drum. Tennessee defense got so much better last year, okay? And then I think they're going to be better this year. So I want to see that defense get after it. You're exactly right. So many question marks, so much turnover from a bad offense anyway. I want to see this defense kind of pound them a little bit, maybe force some turnovers. Would love to see a defensive score or a turnover that sparks an offensive score on a short field. Would love to see that. Offensively, man, I want to see Tennessee get after it. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. There'll be some penalties. There'll be some miscommunications. It's week 1. You don't want to see any turnovers from Joe. Would like to see him air it out a little bit, and I'd like to see Tennessee. The tempo is what I'm going to be looking for because, of course, likely no Cooper Mays. So I want to see if the tempo is affected in week 1. Kind of what's that look like with Ollie Lane? Because in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you're going down to Florida, and whoever's playing football, you know, whatever that offensive line's got to be ready, you know, regardless if Cooper Mays is back or not. So look for that a little bit. But, yeah, certainly the defense to change the game and set up some short fields for the offense.
Finally, going to be able to talk some football in about 5 days. Coming out of the Tennessee-Virginia game, hopefully it's a dominant win. We're all celebrating. Who's everybody talking about Sunday morning at church? What player on defense? What player on offense? Give me one on both sides of the ball. Who do we wake up Sunday morning talking about?
Dante Thornton's going to be introduced to the Tennessee fan base quickly, in my opinion, out of that slot position. So I'll say Dante Thornton. And then defensively, I will go give me Roman Harrison. When you talk about pass rusher and Leo, he's the starter. He's the veteran, but he's like 4th in the conversation for me. He's had a really, really good camp. If he can find a way to finish, he'll have a lot of sacks. He's been close for like 2 or 3 years getting back to the backfield. He just can't finish bringing down that quarterback. I'll say Roman Harrison gets in the backfield a couple times and makes some plays.
Before we get you out the door here, because you did mention Dante Thornton, you know, it's kind of been a laughing joke, running joke. Alex Golish year 1, Alex Golish again year 2. We got a loaded wide receiver room. We're going to rotate 6-7 guys. We see 3 every time, every year. This year, you got 4 dudes, man. Ramel Keaton is not going away quietly. Brew McCoy is going to play. Squirrel White's going to play. Dante Thornton's going to play. How do they find a way to get all 4 of those guys involved? Do you think it's going to be like a series by series, almost like they do the linebackers? How do you think they're going to get those 4 involved? Because I think we're going to see more than 3 this year.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I do think that those 4 will play. Ramel Keaton and Brew McCoy are not coming off the field. Okay, they're going to be your outside guys. They're not coming out. It could be like you treat the running backs and like you treat the linebackers, you know, series by series, who's got the hot hand. You don't want to sub because, again, if you stop and sub, it allows the defense to sub. So that's a big reason why you have a tight end out there. in this offense. But, we'll see. Football's got a way of working out the snap counts, right? I mean, there's injuries, there's this, there's that. I think that those snap counts will be about the same for all 4 of those by season's end. But I guess, when all healthy, I would assume that it's probably just going to be a series-by-series basis. And I think Dante Thornton, I don't know if I would imagine Dante Thornton starts. He's out there, snap 1. But Squirrel White's going to play an awful lot. And so I'm intrigued and excited to see that wide receiver room. I think that's going to be the best unit for Tennessee. And that's crazy to say because you are saying goodbye to a Biletnikoff Award winner and Cedric Tillman, who was also a 3rd-round pick. That's just mind-blowing to me, but I think that wide receiver room is going to be great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready to reclaim wide receiver U and adding guys like Mike Matthews. Dude, Braylon Staley. I'm such a fan of that kid. Had the opportunity to get him on here and talk to him. Had an opportunity to talk to his dad. Great family, great kid. His future is bright. I'm excited. But we're going to get you out of here, man. You guys go check out what Kainer's got going on at _Kainer on Twitter. Go check out Locked On Vols. Make it your first listen. Get up early. Make it your first listen. Come check out Talkin Vols after that. Also, specials going on at VolQuest. You guys do great work. Everybody here knows I'm a fan of what you guys do. But looking forward to it, man. I'll be on Locked On Vols every Friday. Kainer's going to be right here every single Monday morning. So it's go time, man. Ready to talk some football.
Boogie's going to be on Locked On Vols every Thursday. Made a late programming change, but every Thursday.
I just listened this morning. You said Friday. How am I supposed to know these last-second changes?
Well, I probably made the change after I recorded because I'm silly like that. Anyway, though, hey, it's game week. We're here. It's game week. I'm pumped. I know you're pumped. Love all the guys in the comment sections. You guys are awesome, and look forward to listening to the rest of your show, man. Pumped.
Appreciate it, brother. We'll catch up, I guess, on Wednesday.
All right, man. Sounds good. See you
later, buddy. All right, guys, we're going to keep this thing rolling. We're going to get the X Factor on here in just a second. Like I said, man, it is maybe it's just Hater Appreciation Week. Maybe we should just keep this thing rolling all week long. We're going to try to give away a free t-shirt. We need 15 more new members. If you like the content, the live streams, the videos, whatever it is that brings you to this channel, hit that join button down below, just right below, right beside subscribe. If you're an iPhone user, the link is also pinned to the top of the live chat. You can click that link and become a member of the channel. You get custom Talkin Vols emojis. We're doing a fan call-in show every single Sunday, every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's where you guys get an opportunity to come on the show. If you give $1 a month, you may have an opportunity. The more you give, the quicker you get on the channel. Those guys at the Talkin Vols elite level had them on the show. We went all the way down to Talkin Vols Faithful last night. We also do a tailgate show every Saturday, an hour before kickoff. Same deal, fan call-in show. You guys come on, crack open a beer, and we talk Tennessee football, taking you all the way up to kickoff. So if you like the content, you guys, the members, are the reason why I'm sitting here right now doing this instead of working for the man. So I'm grateful, but we still have that membership drive. We need 15 more new members, and we will give away one of these. Let me share the screen here real quick. Do a little quick plug, because it's go time, man. You don't want to get to Georgia week and not have this shirt. So make sure you get it ordered, get in where you fit in. The Fuga 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 shirt. Go check it out. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin Vols. We also got more clean ones. Somebody said, Boogie, there is no way my mother would let me wear that shirt. That's all right. We got to beat Georgia, beat Bama. We do have Buck family. You can go wherever you want to go. You want to make a political statement, Boogie Dauber in 2024. But go check it out, bonfire.com/store/Talkin Vols. All the links are in the description below. We would appreciate you guys picking that up. If you guys have got merch, some of you have been tagging me, and I love it. Tag me up on Twitter, at Boogie Bentley. I love seeing you guys repping our merch, whether you're at a game or just out hanging out. We would appreciate it. Got another new member of the channel. Sticks becomes a member. Appreciate that. Thank you for the support. 14 more members, and we will give away a free shirt. Let's get the X Factor on here. Brother, we got 5. Why did I wake up today? And maybe it's the rock star. Maybe it's listening to the hype video before I went live. Why did I wake up today and it felt like a switch flipped? It's go time, man. 5 days, X. 5 days.
Yes, sir. Let's get it. I say it's game week. Let's go, baby.
5 days. 5 days. Well, let's see. If you think 5, you think the number 5 at Tennessee, pretty much the first number, the first player, got to be Hendon Hooker, right? First player you think of. Who are some all-time greats? Number 5. I'm putting you on the spot. Can you remember? Like, is there anybody that stands out as number 5? Like,
no, like I said, I think Hendon's the only number 5 player that stands out to me, honestly.
I got a couple. I'm older than you. Kevin Simon, rocked number 5. Rico McCoy, Josh Palmer. But I'm with you, man. The first one, you got to think Hendo Cinco is the first one you think of when you hear Number 5. We're going to keep this morning show rolling, guys. We got almost 300 people watching live. Smash the thumbs up. Share it out. Let everybody know that the morning shows are back. We'll be back on Friday morning as well. Then our usual programming throughout the week. Make sure you guys tune in for that. I saw this article trying to think about what me and X were going to talk about. I saw this article pop up this morning while I was getting everything ready for the show, and I thought this would be a fun little game that everybody in the chat could play. Me and X could kind of go back and forth and talk about. This is from Saturday Down South, 10 bold predictions for 2023. Let me put you on the spot right out of the gate, X. Do you have any bold predictions? I mean, maybe is it really a bold prediction that you think Tennessee's going to go down to the Swamp and beat Florida? I don't really think that's bold. You got anything bold? I don't think I even have anything.
It's not bold, but here I will say this. I mean, why not go to a national championship? Why not?
That is bold. That's bold, X. That's bold.
Yeah, let's just go down and win it. Let's go all the way, win a natty, baby.
Let's stop pretending that that's not a bold statement to say Tennessee going to go win a national championship. Nelson's back in the house, the man with all the swag. Nelson X is jealous of your Vols swag. He every time somebody talks about his outfit, he shout outs Nelson. It's go time. All you guys coming back, joining the channel. Appreciate that, Nelson. Thank you for the support. That puts us at 14. We need 14 new members. We'll give away a free shirt. If not, that's cool. We'll keep on rolling. Nelson said had to renew. Okay, bold takes. Bold take from me. Joe Milton has a great season and is a first-round NFL draft pick. I don't really know how bold that is. I think Tennessee's going to have to go win 9 or 10 games in order for that to happen. But that'll be. I'll say that's my bold take. Joe Milton, first-round NFL draft pick after this season. Corey Odell says Kyle Phillips wore the number 5. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's go down. Let's take a look at the first one. Tennessee ends drought in Gainesville. Says back in 2003, the Vols won at Florida 24-10. It was their second straight win at the Swamp, and there was little reason to believe that 2 decades later, they'd still be searching for their next victory in Gainesville. 9 trips to Gainesville and 9 straight losses. Tennessee has been blown out in 2007, lost in excruciating fashion, and lost in 6 other soul-crushing ways. Yeah, it seems like since Casey Clausen was the Gator killer, after that, the Iceman went down to the Swamp and took care of business. Been a lot of misery. But I think, the beautiful thing about Josh Heupel, X, we're ending some of these streaks. I know you hate Florida. Tennessee ends the drought in Gainesville. What do you think of that hot take?
Yes, sir. Let's do it. Let's go all the way. I said, yeah, because my hate for Florida is just like your hate for Georgia. It's time. It is time to rise up from the ashes like a phoenix and end the drought. Because if we can end the drought here at home this last season with Alabama, we all know that glorious, ugliest field goal kick that ended the 15-year drought. I'm pretty sure we can go down to Gainesville. We can end the drought there, man, because it is, man. It's about time. And then for me personally, I'm just tired of the Florida fans always saying that we've owned you guys. You guys can never win a game. And then some of them were even saying that, like, oh, we also own Neyland, too, because you guys can't even beat us at Neyland. Well, it's time to make a bold statement and say, okay, all right, the times are changing. Like I said, because Billy Napier, I don't think he's going to be the right coach. I mean, because so far, even the Florida fans don't really care much for him. So I don't know. But yeah, we're definitely going to end that drought in Gainesville for sure.
I think it's battered Vol syndrome. I don't even think it's a hot take to say that Tennessee's going to beat Florida in the Swamp. It's battered Vol syndrome. You go look at Vegas. Vegas wasn't built on losing. They have Tennessee favored by a touchdown, and that's on the road. That's going on the road. You're usually good for 1 to 3 points when you're playing in your home stadium. Vols favored by a touchdown. ESPN FPI, Tennessee at 55.2%. I know some people buy into the ESPN FPI. Some people think it's stupid. Some people think it's a waste of time. I think it's pretty close to being accurate. I want to see Tennessee do to Florida what they did to LSU. I want them to take over that stadium. I want LSU fans to be sweet Moses, Florida fans to be embarrassed coming out of that game. I want you to hear Rocky Top in the Swamp and no Florida fans to cover it up, man. I want to embarrass Florida. We're going to keep this thing rolling. There's 10 hot takes. We're going to go through each one of them, get your opinions, get me and X will be talking about it. We got a bold take from Doug Spencer. Thank you for the $5, brother. Bold take. Mark it down. We find a way to win at Bama. What do you think about that, X?
Mm.
How do you like I was talking to Eric earlier? That game is circled on their calendar. I said it last night. They're going to be pissed and they're going to be coming for blood.
Uh, I mean, it's gonna take a lot of effort, man. We're gonna have to play some clean football, the whole 9 yards, in order for us to win at Bama. It's very possible. It really, really is because like we talked last night on the Fan Calling show. Alabama, they do have some quarterback questions, and then as far as their wide receivers go, they're kind of questionable right there too. But I mean, it's very, very possible. But man, it's going to be tough because, like you said, Boog, those guys are pissed off and they're waiting for us down in Tuscaloosa.
Marcus Rush for $10. I knew Marcus would be here. I feel like there is a dedicated fan base to the morning show, dedicated fan base to the evening shows, and there's some crossover there as well. But Marcus is always here on these morning shows. Thank you for the $10, brother. Says game week is here, fellas. Who do you think will start at running back between Wright and Small? GBO. I think the depth chart comes out later today. There's going to be a whole lot of what Josh Heupel always does, or it'll say Jabari Small or Jalen Wright. I think Jabari Small is going to be the first one out there on the football field, but I think between Small, Wright, and probably even Dylan Sampson might be in that mix as well. I think Jerry Mack's just going to go with the hot hand. We touched on this again last night, 2X. Whoever's hot, don't take a snap off. You take a snap off, guess what? You'll probably be sitting on that bench, and Jabari Small, Jalen Wright, Dylan Sampson, whoever's got the hot hand is going to come in and take over.
I agree. Yeah, and like I said, I think that, like I said, Jabari Small and Jalen Wright is probably your 1-2 punch, and then hopefully, like I said, we'll see some Dylan Sampson in there as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm ready to see these guys.
Oh my gosh, Matt, I'll be at a wedding on 3rd Saturday in October. What are you doing? What you're not my friend. You're not. Don't get married in the fall. You can't be my friend and get married. It's a sad, sad state of affairs. I missed a lot of weddings because of I'm not going in the fall. Sorry. That's a rule. That's a rule around here. My wife understands. One of my friends gets married in the fall. She's going by herself because we're going to be watching Tennessee football. Let's go take a look. Number 2, Saturday Down South, hot takes. 10 hot takes. Vols break single game scoring record. In 2000, Tennessee racked up 70 points in a win over Louisiana Monroe. That was an offense led by true freshman quarterbacks A.J. Suggs and Casey Clausen, running backs Travis Henry, receivers Cedric Wilson and Dante Stallworth. Certainly some firepower there, but with Josh Heupel's system, the offensive weapons on the team, and the fact that Tennessee isn't afraid to throw deep in blowouts, that 70-point plateau will be eclipsed in a game this season, and it'll happen against Alabama. I'm kidding, he says. What are your thoughts there? Tennessee scoring more than 70 points in 2023.
I'm not gonna lie, like when I read this take right here, I had to do a little research. I was like, Louisiana who? Like, like LS who, Louisiana who, but anyway, little joke there. It is it's possible, but I think it's gonna take a huge effort for the offense and our defense to rack up that many points. It's very possible, but you got to have an outstanding performance from Joe Milton and those wide receiver guys. And then also on the defensive side of the ball, like I said, there's going to have to be a lot of plays. There's going to be a lot of fumbles. There's going to have to be a lot of pick sixes. I mean, it's going to take a lot of effort to rack up to 70 points. It's very attainable, but it's just going to take a lot of effort.
Something that on this one and some of the ones moving forward on these hot takes, something you got to take into account is the fact that the clock no longer stops after first downs. And, Tennessee's going to go fast. They're going to do what they do. But on the flip side, the other teams that aren't going fast are going to chew up even more clock. I don't think that hurts Tennessee. I don't think the fact that the clock doesn't stop after a first down, I don't think it hurts Tennessee at all. But it's going to be harder to score that many points now because you're losing a lot of football. You're losing a lot of football. So I'm going to say no to that one. I don't think Tennessee scores more than 70. I do think that I'm reading the chat and putting the thought together at the same time. I do think that Josh Heupel, he's going to put Nico in and he's going to throw the football, and people can get pissed. They can call it running up the score. They can call it whatever they want. But I think that if you're going to get Nico ready, you got to go in and let him run the offense. If you put him in mop-up duty, you don't want him to go in there and just hand the ball off, three times, 2 yards, cloud of dust, all that stuff. I want to see Nico come in and run the offense, but I think because of the clock, I don't think that happens. Coach Jay in the chat, hot take, Talkin VAWLS hits 35,000 subscribers. We're around 90 away from 22,000. My goal for the end of football season is 30,000. I don't know that we'll get there. Probably realistic goal is 25,000. We will see, man. It's up to you guys. You guys are the reason this thing blows up. Hit share, put it on Twitter, Facebook. If you see us tweet that we're going live, don't just like it and retweet it. Everything is a numbers game and analytics. It's the same with the videos, the content. Hitting the like button helps, man. It helps. It's just all an algorithm and numbers game. So smash the thumbs up, share it out, word of mouth. If you know somebody that's a Tennessee fan, let them know about the Talkin VAWLS Network for the fans, by the fans, the voice of the voiceless. I'm stealing CM Punk's gimmick. All right, let's roll on. Number 3, Milton tops Hooker in single game total yards. Talks about Hennon going down as one of the best quarterbacks in Tennessee history. Had one of his best games against Florida, racking up 461 total yards. I think that Joe Milton will top that number at least once in 2023. He says he isn't Michael Vick or Johnny Manziel when it comes to running the football, but he's mobile enough when necessary and obviously can air it out. Get ready for him to put up the huge numbers this season. 461, I think that's possible. I think it would have to be, like almost like a Alabama game last year where it's neck and neck and it's a shootout and you're scoring 50 points, that type of game. I think it's possible. I want to see them use Joe more in the designed run game, the speed option. I think a quarterback power, right, on 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, something like that. Quarterback power. I think he's going to have some success running that. Where he won't succeed is just escaping pressure, and we've talked that to death on this channel. But I think Joe can be good in the run game, just a different style than him. What do you think?
That, and then also too, because remember, we still have concerns about the offensive line. It's like, is this offensive line good enough to keep Joe up on his feet? And yeah, I'm right there with you, Boog. Like I said, I want to see more like quarterback designed runs for Joe, because I mean he's a big body frame, just an athletic frame. But yeah, 461. I mean, yeah, it would have to come down to an absolute shootout, just back and forth, back and forth. But it can be obtainable, but I don't know. I'm kind of don't know about that one.
Let's roll on to number 4 here, running back trio. This is an interesting one. Combines for more than 2,300 rushing yards. Travis Steven holds a single-season record with 1,464 in 2001. This year's team has some really good running backs, but Jabari Small, Jalen Wright, Dylan Sampson will be splitting the carries. There's little chance one of these guys gets enough to share the pie to challenge Stevens. Last year, those 3 guys combined for 2,006 rushing yards. This season, I expect that trio to run wild for more than 2,300 yards. The fact that they ran for 2,000 a year ago, and again, you got to factor in the clock, man. It's going to take away a lot of football. I'm going yes with this one. I like this one. I've said I think Jalen Wright's going to run for 1,000 on his own. So can Dylan Sampson and Jabari Small add enough there to get him over 23? I'm going yes. I think I know we're concerned about the offensive line, and me and Cain kind of talked about it. This Josh Heupel offense can mask that a little bit. I'm going yes, all in. I'm pushing all the chips in on this one.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm going all in on this one too, because I mean, all of our running backs are talented. They're really physical. They're really fast. So I think this one's really obtainable for sure.
Matt in the chat says he's going with Wright more than 1,100 yards. Yeah, I think, and I hate, it's weird to say Wright has a breakout season. I think it was Nelson in the chat said he thinks Wright starts the game on Saturday. He led this team in rushing a year ago. So is it really a hot take to say that he's going to, have a breakout season? Is it really a breakout season when you're the returning leading rusher?
Well, yeah, and then also too, remember what he did in the offseason. Like I said, look, he was using those Twitter fingers. He's like, hey, give me a bigger NIL deal and I'm going to stay. And it worked. I mean, they give him a bigger NIL deal. So now, I mean, yeah, you have to perform as your leading rusher, because if you don't, you're going to have a lot of question marks surrounding you, and you might be seeing the bench a lot more than the field. So,
number 5, Joe Milton throws for more than 90 yards on one play. That's a dumb question to me. I don't even want to address this one. Does he throw? I don't know, bro. Are they backed up on the 95 and or on the 5-yard line and he throws a 95-yard touchdown? That's kind of a weird one. Let's move on to number 6. Improvement in penalties. 2022, the Vols were called for 105 penalties, an average of just over 8 per game. Only Syracuse and Utah State had more flags. Tennessee was ranked 129th in the nation. I think they get better into the top 100 in 2023. That would be 1 fewer flag per game. Might not sound like much. 1 fewer flag can make a huge difference. Again, clock, time, less. You're going to have less penalties. So I agree with this one. But, again, you talk about Josh Heupel's offense. they're always going to have more penalties, just like they're always going to score more points. They're always going to have more yards. They're always going to give up more yards because they go fast. Like it's why I think when people look at all the yards from last year, and I know the secondary struggled, it's skewed. It's always going to be skewed. The defense's numbers are always going to be skewed. On the flip side, the offensive numbers are always going to be there as well because of what Heupel does. So you're going to have more penalties, but I think you will have less than you had a year ago.
Yeah, and then actually going from last season, I mean, I think that we did pretty good on the penalties. Actually, I think the only game that really ate us up in penalties was just that Georgia game, and that's only because that the crowd played a really big factor. And I mean, it is what it is. You know, they showed up, they showed out, they shut us down. We wasn't able to establish our offense. But yeah, I think of all together, other than that Georgia game last season, I think we did pretty good up on the penalties. I think we cleaned them up pretty well. So, but yeah, and I think we're going to improve going into this season as well. But yeah, I think you're muted. Yeah, I
My
think you're
bad.
muted.
I was coughing. I think I'm dying from COVID, so I was trying not to cough. Anyway, shout out Chris Moyers. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel, brother. We appreciate that support. We are now 13 members away from giving away a free shirt. You guys thinking about joining the channel, hit that join button down below. We would appreciate it. But I also think that there is a Georgia fan, a Florida fan, somebody in the chat that was making fun of us saying, I love when other fans come in and they think they can insult us about mustard bottles and golf balls and all that stuff. So, guys, I want you to pull out your mustard bottles, pull out your golf balls. If you are a member of this chat, I want you to direct them right at Lman34. Start chucking your mustard bottles and also chucking your golf balls directly at Lman34 in the chat. I would appreciate it. Go ahead and flood it. I want to see it. Here they come. Golf balls and mustard bottles flying everywhere. Dakota kicking things off. I bet Dakota was the one that started it. He's probably the one that threw that first mustard bottle. Look at him just going absolutely nuts in the chat. L-Man, you better duck for cover, brother, because they're coming. You better watch out, my friend. You pissed some people off, and here come the mustard bottles and golf balls. All right. I love it when you guys let those rain. Let those rain. All right, let's jump back into it. The next one, after improvement in penalties, Keenan Peely leads the balls in tackles. Says Tennessee got some help in the offseason in the portal with the addition of veteran linebacker Keenan Peely from BYU. Peely's been around the game for a long time, actually part of BYU's 2016 class, started 24 games for the Cougars during his college career. With the departures of Jeremy Banks and Juwan Mitchell, Peely should move into the starting lineup immediately. What are your thoughts on Keenan Peely?
I'm gonna agree with this one because like we talked about from the season before, Boogie, like I said, that 21 season, you know, and you know me, I'm a big Jeremy Banks fan. Back, you know, saying when he was with us, he led, you know, what I'm saying, the most in tackles. So I really feel like with Keenan Peely, for like saying for this veteran guy to come in, and this is what you want veteran guys to come in and to take that leadership role. Because I mean, you are without Jeremy Banks, you are without Juwan Mitchell. So I feel like with Keenan Peely and also with Aaron Beasley as well, I feel like those two guys are going to be the good 1-2 punch. So, but yeah, I think I'm going to agree with this one.
I liked Keenan Peely when he transferred in because of his, you know, you're bringing in a guy that's been a two-time captain for BYU. He's mature. He's a veteran. I thought he could come in and add some leadership on this team. And that was kind of it. And I was like, I think he'll be the starter. I think he'll contribute. But I was listening again to AP interviewing Josh Heupel right before we went live, and he was talking about Keenan Peely. And they asked, what did you think you were getting and what did you actually get? And he talked a lot about his leadership and stuff, and they knew that's what they were getting. But they said the way he has changed his body, his athleticism, talked a lot about, you know, he's way more on the field than they expected. I think Aaron Beasley probably leads this team in tackles, but I'm excited about this linebacker unit. I'm excited hearing Ben McKee talk about how good the front seven is. I'm excited hearing Eric Ainge saying that the linebacker room is the best group on the football team. And that's, you know, we're sitting here getting hyped about the wide receivers. We're getting hyped about the running backs. And here you've got a former SEC quarterback saying, nope, it's that linebacker group that is the best on this football team. But I'm excited, man. I think Keenan Peely will be great. I just think that Aaron Beasley leads this team in tackles. I think Nelson in the chat said Wesley Walker leads the team. Well, he said Walker or Aaron Beasley. I think whoever plays the star position could also be in a position to lead this team in tackles. But we'll see. I don't even know who's going to ultimately play the star position. Let's roll down and take a look at number 8. This one's also kind of dumb. No punts, no problem. Tennessee has that capability of scoring every drive. I think the Vols end up with not one, but 2 games in which their punter never sees the field. This probably isn't a bold prediction, but let's give the special teamers some love. Is it really giving special teamers love when you're saying that they're not going to be on the field? I think that's very, very, very possible. You play Connecticut, you play Austin P. Very, very possible.
I could have sworn that last season there was one game where our punter didn't even come out. I don't know if it was the LSU game or what, but I was sitting there trying to research it, and then I couldn't find anything. But yeah, no, I mean it's very possible. I mean, there's just no punts, no problem. But I don't know. We'll see.
Let's go down to number 9 here. White leads Vols in receptions and yards. Jalen Hyatt, Cedric Tillman are now in the NFL, so there are a lot of catches to be had. I say the biggest beneficiary for that will be sophomore wide receiver Squirrel White. A year ago, he had 30 receptions for 481 yards, good enough for 4th place on the team. In both categories, he's going to be called upon even more this season. What do you think? Receptions and yards.
Receptions and yards, yeah, I think he's got it because you had Squirrel White, like saying, come in as a true freshman. He was balling out, and then with him coming back this coming season, like I said, he's matured. He's going to get better. So, and then plus him and Joe Milton have that really good chemistry. So yeah, I think this one's very obtainable. But and also too, man, it's like what we just talked about. I mean, you have a very elite, wide receiver group, man. So, and I'm also going to throw maybe, Dante Thornton in there. I think that Dante Thornton might have a breakout season year. Like you said before, Boog, he might be a one and done. But he could come in and he could just, be right there with Squirrel White. But I think those are very attainable for White.
Richard Jackson becomes a member of the channel. Appreciate that, Richard. Appreciate that support, brother. Also drops a $5 super chat. Says, "What up? Go Vols." Thank
What's
you, Richard.
good? What's good,
Is that
boy?
your boy? I saw he put something in the chat. Said, "What up, X?"
Yeah. We go way back, man. Like I said, we actually rode the bus to high school together. I said, so what's up, good? What's good with you, man?
Well, I appreciate Richard being in the chat, dropping a super chat, and becoming a member of the channel. So thank you for that support. Let's take a look at one more. We're almost an hour into this. What do you guys, I'm going to let you guys in the chat take a vote. If you want us to watch the final press conference from Tim Banks, he drops a lot of good points, and I think it gives us an opportunity to continue to talk about this defense. Put a 1 in the chat. If you're sick of Boogie and X talking, you want to go back to work, get your productivity up. I know you got to focus on the job. I know a lot of you guys are at work listening right now. If you want us to go on and wrap up the show, put a 2 in the chat. If you want us to just call it a night, call it a morning, and wrap it up, everybody says 1 in the chat.
One.
Noah James for $2. Appreciate the super chat. Loser Man is wasting his breath. Let me say this to you guys. L-Man's not said anything that would cause me to ban him from the channel. He's talking trash. He's doing his thing. Here's the deal. You guys can talk to him or you can talk to us. I have no problem if you guys want to jab and go back and forth. It's whatever y'all want to do. But it's way more fun when you guys are interactive with the show. But again, y'all do you. Whatever you want to do is fine. Everybody says listen to Tim Banks. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, I about to say I see a lot of 1s in chat. Y'all sure y'all working or y'all just hiding in the break room or the bathroom somewhere?
Nelson says you already know the answer. Roger says 1. Negaval says don't let anybody know that he's not at work. Yeah, he's not at work. He's not at work. Matt Marsh says 2, wrap the show. Go get off here. We're sick of it. All right, let's see. Let's take a look at the last one. Then we'll listen to what Tim Banks has to say. I think it just opens up an opportunity for more conversation. Don't forget, we're going to be live again. We're going to be right back here, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Myself, Sports Talk Jay, BVD, the Tennessee Trinity, the first of the crossovers. We're going to be doing every Wednesday at noon, but I've got some stuff going on Wednesday morning, so I had to shift it. We're going to open it up on a Monday night, and then the Wednesday after the Virginia game, we're going to be over on Sports Talk Jay's channel. The following Wednesday, we're going to be on BVD's channel, then right back here. I will always keep you guys up to date with where we are going to be. Number 10, Tennessee will finish 10-2 again. Old enough to remember a 2003 Tennessee team that went 10-2, and fans were genuinely disappointed because the Vols lost the SEC East on a tiebreaker and fell to the Peach Bowl for the second straight year. That was a different time, a time when 10-win seasons were not hoped for but expected. Took 19 years for Tennessee to win 10 regular season games again. The expectations of double-digit success on Rocky Top have returned. It's August, And who knows what this Tennessee team will look like around Thanksgiving, but I see it heading to a bowl season with another 10-2 record. The first thing I would say is going back to the 90s and the 2000s, that's the way it was, man. My generation was so spoiled. Like 10 wins was expected. You played South Carolina as a kid. You didn't even watch the game because you knew Tennessee was going to win. Now, I wouldn't miss it if they were playing freaking Monmouth. How about that callback? I'm going to watch every second of every game, but it was just a different time, man. The expectations, some of you younger guys, you have no idea what that feels like. No. Is the expectation double-digit wins? Is it back yet, or do we need more than one double-digit win season to kind of raise that expectation?
I mean, I see. Well, for this season, like I said, as of right now, it's very questionable because like what you and Cain were talking about earlier. I mean, you are losing some key pieces in this offense, but also too, you have Joe Milton and a better team coming back. This season is very questionable. I don't know because, like you said, 9-3 could be our solid floor for the whole season. But going into the year of 24 with Nico. It's very possible. Very, very possible. I think the class of 24 and 25, you could see a double digit, record. But, and like for me, growing up watching Tennessee Vols now, it was a struggle to celebrate beating Vanderbilt and South Carolina than what it is now. So we came a long way. And just like, I think Dustin's the one that said it in the Fan Calling show last night, or I think it was Tom, can't remember who it was. But I remember in that Georgia State game. I remember that BYU game during the Pruitt era. It was terrible. It was so terrible. So so to watch us go 11-2 last season was very, very special to me. And then of course going back to the Alabama game, I'll never forget where I was and where I was at where I watched that game where we finally broke that streak, man. It was very, very special to me. But for this season, like I said, 9-3, I think is going to be our solid floor. But going forward, I mean, the double-digit record could definitely be in our future.
All right, let's transition here. We're going to jump over, take a listen to what Tim Banks had to say. Noah James for another 5 more days. Sorry, Boogie, I'm going crazy. Hey, you're not going crazy. I appreciate the super chats, brother. I appreciate all the support. You guys, look, full transparency, ad revenue on YouTube right now sucks. I could not make a living if it wasn't for you guys, the memberships, the super chats, picking up merch, all that good stuff, man. I am fully 100% pay my bills because of your guys and your donations and your contributions. Grateful, man. I can only say that so much, and you guys may get tired of hearing it, but it's the truth. It is the reality. Let's take a listen. Tim Banks, this was a press conference from a couple of days ago, but I think it gives us a lot of good talking points talking about this Tennessee defense. Let's take a listen to Tim Banks.
Tim, I imagine one thing that may keep you up at night leading into the opener is how your team or defense is going to tackle. And with the rule changes over the last several years, is it more difficult to have your guys be prepared physically and ready to tackle at the level that you want them at by the time the opener rolls around? And just how would you assess where your defense is at tackling right now?
Yeah, it's a fine line that you walk, because the reality of it is, tackling is a skill that has to be developed through tackling. And you probably don't get enough tackling opportunities, for the good of the game. You're trying to protect the guys and keep them healthy. But at the same time, you got to do it. So, I mean, I feel like we've done everything we can to get these guys prepared to tackle. I think whether it was 10 years ago or last year, it's always the same. You got to get that first tackle under your belt, in that first game. And I think the guys will get comfortable and, get going. But the reality of it is we talk about, playing with relentless effort. We feel like even if a guy is not quite where he needs to be and maybe stumbles through a tackle, if we're running to the ball with the pursuit that's required, then I think we should be okay.
Coach Jay in the chat, I think only one way to teach tackling. Yeah, tackle. That's it.
Tackle.
Was it Butch Jones? Wasn't it Butch Jones that they didn't tackle during camp? They showed up that season, and it was an absolute disaster. I get it. Football is a physical, violent game, but you have to tackle. You can roll that little wheel gimmick out there and go grab it and spin and twist and all that kind of stuff. You can hit a tackling dummy, but if you're not tackling in live action, you're not going to get better at tackling. Something that I loved hearing from Jabari Small, and this, I know we're talking defense, but flipping over, he saw what Jalen Wright went through last year, not being able to take contact throughout camp, and then he had struggles protecting the football. Everybody talks about Jalen Wright putting the ball on the ground. It's because he was banged up and he wasn't getting hit in practice. Now Jabari Small saw that. He's coming off of an injury, a little banged up, and he's like, no, I need contact. You guys need to hit me. Let me feel that live action so that I'm ready when Virginia shows up in Nashville for week 1. What any thoughts on that? You want to stop tackling, X?
That's a definitely not. That's the whole. Come on, that's the sport of football. You got to tackle. And then going back to what you just said, didn't also Hendon Hooker? Didn't he kind of quote that as well? To where it's like his nerves. Like say he said that, like if he feels kind of jittery, but after when he gets tackled the first time, it's like his nerves kind of just calm down, and he's like, okay, I'm in game mode. So yeah, I mean, you got to tackle better. I mean, it's part of football.
It's like being in a fight. When that first punch lands, it's like, okay, I'm in a fight. Now let's go. It's you once you get that contact, it's a violent game. You got to tackle. Coach Jay summed it up. There's only one way to learn how to tackle, and that is to tackle. All right, let's hear more.
Knowing you guys always want to get better and improve, but after seeing these guys in spring and in fall camp, kind of where do you assess the strengths of your defense right now heading into the season?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think the depth, I feel like we got a lot of guys that have played some football around here, and we got a good blend of some young guys, some of the early enrollees that just got here and some of the guys that were freshmen last year who played a small role. We expect those guys to play a larger role this season. So I think you would say, what is our strength right now going into our first game? I would just say our depth. We feel really good that we should be able to rotate a lot of guys and give a lot of guys opportunities that they've earned through camp. And it's exciting, to be quite honest with you. It's exciting to know that, you can roll different guys out there and try to keep those guys fresh as we possibly can.
I threw this one at Cain earlier, now I'll throw it at you, X. When you talk about depth, guys that probably aren't necessarily listed as a starter, who do you think on this defense makes an impact as far as depth? You're going to rotate 8 or 10 guys on the defensive line. You're probably going to rotate 4 linebackers, and they're talking about rotating guys in the secondary now too. But who do you like?
I think I'm gonna go with Joshua Joseph, man, because I said he's a guy that even from last season, I mean, he was really putting the hit out on some people. So yeah, I think Joshua Joseph and some of the other younger guys, like what Tim Banks just said, I think that they're gonna definitely get some playing time this coming season. Definitely, it's like what I said, in the last stream too, going into this Virginia game. Like, I want to see us dominate on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not really too concerned about what our offense is going to do. I already know we're gonna put out a show, but I just want to see, like what Tim just said. He said that there is more depth, so I want to see that on the field. I mean, it says we look good on paper, but I want to see all that processed out on the field. But no, I think the one player that sticks out to me is definitely Joshua Josephs. Yeah, I think he's really gonna have a little bit of a breakout season.
Have you seen that picture of him floating around Twitter where he was the first guy off the bus and he looks like a murderer? Like he is gigantic. Like he was so lean last year. He looks huge. He looks like Joshua Joseph's 8 Joshua Josephs and took some steroids with it. Get that trending on Twitter. Don't tag me. He looks like a monster, man. And that's what excites me too. Joshua Josephs, a guy going into his sophomore year, a guy that contributed as a true freshman. I like that Cainer said David Hobbs because he's a true freshman. Is he a guy with, DeJoun Terry transferring out, Elijah Simmons being banged up, probably out for a little while, maybe even I think I heard October. David Hobbs, a guy that I want to see. We talk about recruiting and stacking the classes and all that stuff. The picture perfect scenario is to see these freshmen every year come in and contribute a little in the 2 deep. Guys like Joshua Josephs did last year. Can David Hobbs do it this year? Maybe some of the young corners, can they come along and be ready to go as sophomores next year, right? I think Gibson, Matthews, Christian Conyer, those guys, if they can be ready to go next year, that's when this team, we talk about closing the gap with Georgia, and we still got a long way to go. I think Coach Hype's the wild card. I think he's a better coach than Kirby Smart, but we got to continue to do that and see some of these young guys contribute. Let's hear more from Tim Banks.
When did you feel that? Did you feel that day 1 in camp, or was that 2 weeks into camp? You went, hey, we got a lot of bodies that can help. When did you kind of get that vibe?
Yeah, honestly, I felt like that going into spring. We knew we had a lot of guys competing. You want to get better. You need guys that compete. You don't want guys getting comfortable. And, whether you're talking about the back end or whether you're talking about the linebacker position, we just feel like we have more guys that, are able to compete and challenge each other and help each other get better. So I know we've had the depth. it's just obviously, figuring out what the best combination of guys are and, dictating and deciding how many reps to give each man to keep them fresh. So we felt like it was a good situation, and, hopefully it'll show itself this season.
Same as the running back room, same as the wide receiver room. Competition breeds success, right? I mean,
iron sharpens iron.
When you're worried about your job, all of a sudden you start focusing on the little details. You start putting in 100% effort. Like it's such a cliche and coach speak, but it's the truth, man. It's the truth.
Yeah, I mean, even going back to the wide receiver, like I said, look what Velus Jones, talked to, like Jalen Hyatt, saying the season before. He was like, "Hey, man, how do I become like you?" And then, of course, like I know that was a couple seasons ago, but it's such a beautiful moment and beautiful story because, as we talked about it last night, I mean, look what Jalen Hyatt's doing in the lead right now. I mean, he was also your Biletnikoff winner of last season. So, yeah, I mean, iron sharpens iron. Yeah, it is cliche, coach speak, but it is the truth. I mean, you're only going to get better just by, and that's also being a true teammate and a true brother too. It's like that's why I'm saying the senior guys need to take that leadership role and be that veteran and say, hey, if you're struggling in this area or if you need advice of anything, then that's just the whole point of becoming a team and a brotherhood. You come together and you just help each other up. But yeah, it's just a very beautiful thing.
Trying to find that picture of Joshua Josephs real quick. Let's see. I got it here. Look at that. Good Lord. It doesn't even look like the same player from a year ago.
No,
he is yoked. Like,
yes,
huge.
he is.
Like, if you guys hadn't seen, look at Joshua Joe. I mean, he, like, last year he just looked, he was so long and athletic, but now, man, he looks like an SEC edge rusher, like just an absolute monster. I didn't know if anybody in the chat had seen that. I wanted to put it up on the screen.
He does, man. Like I said, he looks like grandma off of life. Talking about like, hey Claude, you gonna eat your cornbread? that's what he kind of reminds me of.
What a reverence. Jordan Boyd in the chat says if they drop the depth chart, Heupel's going to be meeting with the media a little bit later today. They're going to drop the depth chart. We're going to be talking about that tonight, live at 7 o'clock, 7 p.m. Eastern time with BBD and Sports Talk Jay. We're going to take a look at that depth chart. We're also going to listen to Heupel's press conference. Let's get back into Tim Banks as I'm about to die here from COVID. Oh my gosh, hold on. Here we go.
How predetermined would you say your rotations are going into a game? How far into it do you know who's going to be in the game at what point, and at what point in the game does circumstances dictate that?
Yeah, I mean, I think circumstances always play a factor, what's going on, guys, injuries, whatever. But at the end of the day, you go into the game having a rotation and plan, knowing that, you expect these guys to come in these series and, depending on how long the series is, depending on how many more series they get. So it's a fluid situation, but we always go into the game having a plan in terms of how we will rotate guys.
You talk about the depth across the board, but where do you feel like you are at safety as we head into the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with Tank. Tank's obviously played a lot of football for us around here. And, Wesley Walker played a ton of snaps last year as well for us, at some safety. So, Jordan Thomas, is a guy who was a special teams guy who did a tremendous job for us last season that we think will be able to help us. And, Christian Charles is rotated in from corner to safety to star. So, we feel like we got some guys, and Andre, Tarantine, we feel like he's got a chance to be able to help the team. So I think we have really good depth there. Obviously we don't have the guys that have played as many snaps as Flowers played the year before, outside of Tank, but we think collectively, we have a good group of guys to work with, and, we're excited to watch those guys play and perform.
Somebody in the chat talking about Tank with all of his legal troubles. I think they're rolling on like he is going to be a part of this football team. He's not been suspended. They're just waiting on the legal system to do its thing. And
yeah, I said, what did he get in trouble for again?
It's the dude walked into his apartment twice, so he punched him in the face. Yeah. What are you doing if you're sitting on the couch, X, you're watching TV, drunk dude stumbles into your living room, and you're like, what is going on? You escort him out. You don't touch him. He leaves. You're going to be aggressive towards the guy, right? You're not just going to go, hey, what's up, brother? How you doing? Come on in, sit down, have some cornbread. Like, no. But they did. They whatever. He left, and then he came back. So Tank punched him in the face. Like, I think that's perfectly fine.
Hey, like
I'm not a lawyer, but come on.
Hey, like my mom and daddy say, like I said, when somebody keeps bothering you, look, I'm gonna give you 3 chances. It's like, look, first time, hey brother, quit. Second time, hey, chill, man. Third time, no, I'm gonna knock your lights out. But like I said, it's plus two. If he was drunk too, and he just kept aggravating me, then yeah, I'm swinging for facts.
Nelson's worried about tank speed. I wonder if Andre Turrentine, gold jacket, green jacket, ultimately takes over that job. I'm curious, man. A lot of buzz around Turrentine, however you want to say it. Uh, I don't know, but again, that it goes back to depth and competition and how valuable
Hmm.
that is on this football team. I thought it was interesting. He did mention Christian Charles, a guy that we were talking about. I don't know if it was earlier or we were talking about him last. No, it was last night, and
Last
none of
night,
us had really heard about him. And Tim Banks saying he's bouncing around. That makes me think that Christian Charles probably not going to play a whole lot this year. I think you got to
probably.
lock down a position and focus on it, and it's okay to move around and add some depth. Let's see here. Douglas Graham for 5. Appreciate the super chat, brother. Boogie, you and X are the men. GBO. You're the man,
Appreciate that.
Douglas. Yeah, appreciate that super chat. Thank you for the support. I don't know. I'm excited about the secondary. I've been saying it all offseason. I think they take a step. I think they get better because there's more talent there.
And also too, like I said, well, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually hit the portal too. Well, if we're going to hear later on that he hits the portal, because yeah, if there's reports saying that he's bouncing around and hasn't locked down the specific spot, I wouldn't be surprised if he hits the portal. Honestly,
And he's a junior, so which he still has a redshirt year. So if he doesn't play, he would have 2 years of eligibility, maybe the COVID year. I can't wait till all the COVID year stuff is gone because I
yeah.
never know how many years of eligibility a kid has. But we'll see. I think there's a lot of good talent on this football team that's going to be able to take over. He's at the safety position. You got Jack Luttrell floating around back there. You got Boo Carter going to be coming in as a freshman. So
Hmm.
maybe we'll see if he enters the portal. Let's hear more from Tim Banks here.
How consistent do you feel like Josh Josephs and James Pierce has been this fall camp behind Roman?
Yeah, I think those guys have gotten, significantly better, really. Their roles have grown, things that we're asking them to do has grown. I think their maturity has started to show through. And you would expect that, that the things that we, basically gave them a pass for as freshmen, they won't get those passes this year. We expect those guys to grow, any of the guys really, your first year and your second year, it should be some growth. And both those guys have shown that. And, we're excited about, their future in the season.
Does the depth mean you just have more bodies to play, or does that depth mean you can do more things schematically? You can be more multiple defensively?
Yeah, I mean, I think most people will describe us as being pretty multiple at this point already. But I think the more guys you have, the more versatile they are, the more you can do with them and put them in some different spots and still really have the ability to play to their strengths. So I think the question is, do we have more guys that are versatile? I would say absolutely, and I think we'll have a chance to showcase their skill sets to hopefully help us continue to move the needle in the right direction. So but definitely having the bodies helps from a depth perspective and playing more snaps. But we also feel we do have some versatile defenders that are able to do multiple things for us. Yes, sir.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, because I just want to say with that question right there, it makes you really, really excited because we're going back to last season. Remember, we couldn't run man plays. Like as far as the defensive side of the ball, we couldn't run man because we were so lacking depth that we just had to send the house. That was the only thing that we could do to try to make a play happen on the defensive side of the ball. And like I said, that makes me really excited that, like I said, in more depth that we actually have guys that are versatile of what the defense is going to scheme up.
And you look at the depth that this football team had when Heupel took over. Like, that was not that long ago that we had a long snapper taking practice reps at linebacker because there were no linebackers in the room. Like, I
No.
remember looking back, and it was Aaron Willis, Aaron Beasley, and I can't remember who the third one was. There was a third young linebacker. I can't remember. Regardless, it doesn't matter. They all the kids got in trouble. Aaron Beasley got in trouble at the time. Worked his way
Mhm.
back on this football team. Was found innocent. It is what it is. Now look what he's done. He's been able to ball out. But you look at that linebacker room when Heupel took over. Your top two linebackers transferred out. So the guys that were supposed to be adding depth were then thrown to the fire. Right, you're now
Mhm.
starting at linebacker when you should have been in the 2 deep or 3 deep, and that's the way they've rebuilt this roster in just 3 years is amazing. Like, I think it speaks volumes for what Heupel's been able to do, not only recruiting, but also in the transfer portal. Like, year one, when Heupel's hired, we're talking about this is a 6-year rebuild. Like, you're going to have to get through this NCAA investigation. You're going to have a year or 2 years of horrible recruiting, and that's not the case. Like, we've seen the recruiting trending up. People trying to claim that it's trending down, you're wrong. Year one, they were around 15, 16, somewhere around there. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Year two, they popped up a little bit. Now they're trying to finish this thing off in the top 5. Recruiting is trending up, and that's adding depth, but also the transfer portal. They've added, like, look at the guys that contributed to this team. Brew McCoy. You also Hendon freaking Hooker, man. There have been a lot of guys on this team that were added via the transfer portal that helped turn this thing around.
And that also says a lot about Josh Heupel too. I mean, because like what you said, when he took over after when Pruitt got fired, in year one, like I said, we will out win 7 games. You're like, okay, you're expecting at least to win like 5, 6 games, maybe even 4 possibly. But Josh Heupel proved us wrong. Then enter years 2, you really, really step up your game, and we go 11-2. It's unfreaking heard of. It's like what I said earlier. To me, as from watching Tennessee football in this era, like that was really, really special to me to see this team go 11-2 after so long of such of a drought that we had. So now going into this 3rd year, I mean, the sky's the limit. I mean, why not go like in that article we just read? Why not go 10-2 again? Why not? Like I said at the beginning of the show, why not a national championship? Just why not? But it just shows what kind of a coach Josh Heupel is. We finally got our football coach, and that is the key to our recruiting as well. Is that we got to keep winning big games? Because I know we talked about the game against Florida and Alabama and Georgia possibly. I mean, those are going to be some tough games. But even if not saying okay, even if you do lose those games, even if you kind of just don't get blown out by those teams, I don't think it's still not going to affect recruiting at all. I feel like that as long as you show that you're competing to at least try to get to the playoffs or try to get to an SEC or national championship, I think recruiting is still going to go pretty positive for us.
Yeah, I think if you finish 9-3, I think recruiting is going to continue to trend up because the selling point is going to be Nico coming in and all these young guys, starting to grow up. My guys, Heupel's guys, are going to start to take over. Guys, we still got 266 people watching live. Only 154 of you have smashed the thumbs up. I'm going to take that as a personal insult. I get it. Some of you guys probably do like I do. You pull up YouTube on the TV and you're not signed into it. But if you are signed into Google, you like what we're doing, do us a favor, smash the thumbs up. Share this thing out, even though we're on the back end of it. Let somebody know about Talkin VAWLS Live. We'll be back in the house at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight. Myself, BBD, Sports Talk Jay, going to be talking about the depth chart. We're going to be breaking down Heupel's comments from a little bit later today. So make sure you guys dial in, come hang out for that live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. The fan calling shows. The NCAA streams, NCAA football streams are moved to Tuesday night. So tomorrow night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be continuing that NCAA dynasty, but also it's NCAA night's almost like a fan call-in show. Like it is just nothing more than back and forth interaction, hanging out, shooting the bull, talking Tennessee football. So if you've never been a part of the NCAA stream, come hang out, give it a shot. I think you guys will dig the laid-back style of it. Let's hear a little bit more from Tim Banks as we wrap this thing up.
Virginia named Tony Muskett as their starting quarterback. How quickly do you dive into the tape, and what do you know about him?
Yeah, we're getting to it, and we had a chance to watch him, I believe, at Monmouth. I believe I'm saying that correctly. Really good player.
What does that right there tell you? Right, we can laugh, we can tell jokes. Tim Banks, the defensive coordinator at the University of Tennessee, doesn't even know how to pronounce the school's name where Virginia's quarterback transferred from, X. Come on, bro. Come on. Stop pretending.
We're all human, bro. I mean, it is what it is.
We're going to start the Talkin Monmouth channel. Matt Begley earlier said we've said Monmouth more than their fan base has in the last 2 years.
And the way that he said it, he was just like, yeah, Monmouth. I'm pretty sure that's how I pronounce it, but I really don't know where that's at.
Gosh, that is freaking hilarious. Oh, I've got to clip that. I have to go in and clip that. I got to do it. All right. Let's see what he has to say about a quarterback from a school that he's never heard of before. Oh,
did really well for those guys and show some athleticism. Really good touch on the deep balls, and I could see why those guys went and got him, and I can see why those guys named him the starter. So we respect everybody that we face, and he's gotten our attention, and we know we're gonna have to be at our best to be able to have a good game against him.
Tim, what are your thoughts on David Hobbs up front? Is he a guy who, I know that can be a tough place for a freshman to kind of step in and make an impact, but maybe he's a kid who can do that. Is he a guy who's going to have a chance to play some maybe?
Yeah, we're excited about Hobbs. I mean, we really are. You talk about guys with versatility, a guy that can, play inside, can play outside for us. Yeah, he is a freshman, but he's extremely talented. He's light on his feet for a big guy. Is there a learning curve for a freshman? No doubt about it. No different than Josh and James from last year. So we'll obviously work with him and work through some of the growing pains. But we feel like he has an extremely high ceiling, and we're super excited to watch him perform as well this season.
Looking at the pass rushing, kind of where are you at that Leo position, Roman Harrison, and who are some guys inside who can maybe get after the passer?
Yeah, I mean, I think, it starts with Big O. We think O's improved a ton. He's obviously a big body guy that has shown some versatility in terms of what we ask him to do. Lott, is another guy that, obviously just got here in the spring that, we're super excited about it as well. So, yeah, we feel like we'll have some guys, in the interior to be able to, push the pocket and affect the quarterback that way. And, when you start talking about our edge guys, you've already mentioned, the usual suspects from Roman to Josh to James Pierce and, and Caleb Herring as well, So we feel like we have some guys that, will have a chance to affect the quarterback, but definitely having some guys inside would only help that campaign.
Another true freshman. I mean, he's talking about David Hobbs, a true freshman. He mentions Caleb Herring, a true freshman. How important, man? All right. Last night, again, I was talking about the video I made yesterday morning and talking about how bad Virginia's offense is. And, again, their offensive line, 4 guys gone from an offensive line that was terrible, gave up 3.5 sacks a game last year, struggled to run the football. And somebody said, oh, you're ready to fire Tim Banks if they struggle. No, I didn't say that. But how much concern, X, do you have if they don't get after the quarterback on Saturday? And I'm talking about with 4. I don't need to see, like I think it was Coach Jay said in the chat earlier, I don't need to see some elaborate, complex schemes. I want to see the front 4 getting after it.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be just a little concerned because, it's what we've been all preaching for even last season. Is that we gotta develop plays to get after the quarterback. That was one of our big Achilles heels from going in from last season. But yeah, I mean, if we have some guys that can't, like Tim just said, to push back, like saying the pocket to put pressure onto the quarterback. I mean, what were we doing this whole offseason? So yeah, that's going to be a little concerning for me. But I think the young guys are going to, like I said, I think a lot of the young guys are definitely going to show out this year. So little concerned if we don't get after the quarterback, but I think the young guys are going to step up in a big way.
Landon for $2. Thank you for the super chat. Are you worried at all for week 1 against Virginia?
No,
I'm not. I don't think Virginia is very good at all. Tennessee favored by 4 touchdowns. The ESPN FPI is all Tennessee. I think you guys, Noah James sums it up right here. I think Vols by 50 could be accurate. I think it could be a 50-point game. Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, we'll be live doing our Wednesday show. It'll be myself, Dauber, maybe JP. Sometimes X is on, sometimes Coach J's on. It's a rotating cast. We'll see who's lined up and ready to go, but that's when we give our predictions. I think Wednesday will probably be me, Dauber, X, and maybe JP. I've not heard from JP yet, but that's when we give our official predictions. I will try to remember so many moving parts here. I'll try to remember to get Coach Jay's prediction on the Friday morning stream right before game day. So we'll be doing that Friday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern time. But no, I'm not worried about the Virginia game at all. I may be worried coming out of it, like I just asked X, depending on how the game plays out, what we see. Maybe I'll have some concerns moving forward as we get closer to that Florida game in week 3. That's the game. That's when things start. That is when I think not necessarily a turning point, but maybe a turning point for the season. You go beat Florida on the road, I think you can possibly get to 10 wins. And I know I've talked about the toss-up games with Texas A&M, Kentucky, all that jazz. I think you can possibly get to 10 wins. You got to win that Florida game. If you lose to Florida on the road, I don't think you're winning 10 games this year. But let's hear a little bit more from Tim Banks.
At this point a year ago, Arion Carter was just starting to play linebacker and had no big-time Power 5 offers. all of a sudden it all comes on for him so fast, and here he is now. It looks like he's going to be a contributor for you in year one. What's he done to take himself from where he was a year ago, thought of as a running back prospect, to potential, two deep linebacker at a Power 5 school?
Yeah, the kid's a worker, first and foremost. He has a tremendous amount of confidence, and he believes in himself, and he believes in what we're teaching him. So I love this kid. He's going to play a ton for us. The steps and the growth that he's shown coming from spring to our fall camp has been tremendous. But again, I think it's a testimony to just how hard the kid works and how committed he is to being great. So we're excited about him. We think he's right where he needs to be as he continues to grow as a freshman. Just like with all the guys, there is a learning curve that's expected. But, if I know him like I think I do, he's going to push through that curve, and he's going to continue to grow and get even better as the season progresses.
For all freshmen, all true freshmen, what is pushing through that curve? Once they play in a game, what are you looking for that says that they belong out there?
Yeah, I think, the consistency part, that's the biggest thing, being able to handle the highs and lows, when you playing at this level, there are going to be some challenging moments during the course of a game, practice, and the way they handle it, is typically a freshman. Sometimes they get too high, sometimes they get too low. But I think as they continue to grow, they'll be more consistent in their approach, number one, with their process. And I think you'll start to see dividends on the field. So I just think it's being able to manage the game itself, and the process is probably the biggest learning curve that most young people struggle with.
Christian Harrison, how have you seen him grow from his freshman year to sophomore year?
Yeah. Christian is, he's been one of those guys that's been competing at that corner position, and I think he's grown as well. Again, and you should. I know I keep saying the same thing. As a freshman, you're just trying to figure it out, and you're trying to work through your role, whatever that was last year for him. And obviously those guys are all working hard to create a bigger role, and he's no different. I thought he made tremendous strides. Finishing last season, was a factor on our special teams, and when some of the games he got in, we thought he improved, and he showed those same traits during spring, and he's really picked up where he left off in the fall. So he'll be definitely a guy that'll continue to grow, and we're extremely happy where he is right now.
Another young guy, Christian Harrison. Some of the freshmen are going to come in and they're going to contribute right out of the gate, right? David Hobbs, Arian Carter. Some don't do that. Some you develop, and that's when we talk about stacking recruiting classes to beat a dead horse. But some guys take longer, and maybe Christian Harrison is a guy that as a junior starts to contribute. You know what I mean? And you have that opportunity to grow and develop and see what happens. Look at Jalen Hyatt, right? A guy that came in and developed and contributed. Like I remember his freshman year when he torched Alabama, and it's like, oh, we got something special. But you touched on it earlier, how, show me, Valus, what do I need to do in learning and growing? And then senior year, Biletnikoff Award winner, drafted to the NFL. And now he's balling out, man. I think he's a guy that's going to contribute for the Giants this upcoming season. It's about development and growth. And even though Tim Banks says, I'm saying the same thing over and over, it's the truth. It's the reality.
Yeah, definitely. Iron sharpens iron. So in a way that said that these guys are going to get better, and especially heading into this 24-25 class with Nico's, it's definitely going to be a real special year when Nico sees the field.
Well, I think that is going to do it for this one. Great kickoff to the Monday morning show. Appreciate X jumping on. Had the day off from work, so he jumped on with me. Normally, it's going to be myself and Eric Cain, and I think BVD may be doing these. We'll see. Now that we're doing the crossover on Wednesdays, we'll see how that plays out. But regardless, Eric Cain's going to be here every single Monday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time. I saw somebody in the chat asking if they missed him. Yeah, that was at the top of the show. If you want, go back, rewind, to catch the show from the beginning. Guys, make sure you do smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. Go check out the merch. If you're not a member of the channel, you can fix that right now. Hit the join button down below. Let's get those memberships rolling in. We appreciate it. You guys are what gives me the opportunity to do this, so I'm forever grateful for you guys and the way you support this channel. Appalachian Adventures says, just realized you're not live now. I was watching yesterday's stream. It's full steam ahead, and I get it. Some of you guys come back and watch the replays. We're going to be live 6 days a week, twice on Wednesdays. So tons and tons of content coming your way. I'm going to try to sprinkle in some videos in between. I think I'm actually going to shut this thing off and go make a video right now and get posted as soon as possible. Then we'll be back live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to do it for the X Factor. My name is Boogie Bentley. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. Go Big Orange.
The songs how like me. that we call